Our world, a vibrant sphere of life, teeming with wonders, yet humanity, in its ingenuity, has crafted a shadow, a threat that looms larger than any natural disaster. It is the spectre of nuclear annihilation, a self-inflicted wound of unimaginable scale, one that could unravel the delicate tapestry of existence. We stand, perhaps unknowingly, at a precipice. The winds of conflict are stirring once more. These instruments of ultimate destruction, nuclear weapons, born from the crucible of war, and now they proliferate, held by a handful of nations. Their power is almost beyond comprehension. A single device can unleash the fury of the sun, capable of erasing cities and poisoning the earth for generations. A chilling testament to our capacity for both creation and utter devastation. Today, in the year 2025, the silence is broken. World leaders once again speak openly of using these cataclysmic tools. Threats echo in the halls of power. The language of deterrence becomes more aggressive, more perilous. Many experts believe the danger is acute, higher than it has been for decades. A miscalculation, a moment of madness, could ignite an inferno. The stakes have never been so high. The future hangs precariously. Imagine, if you will, a major city, a metropolis, alive with the thrum of human activity. Millions of souls going about their day, dreams, laughter, commerce, art, families sharing moments, children playing in parks, unaware of the cataclysm that awaits them. Suspended in the cold calculus of war, a target, a point on a map. Then, in less than a millisecond, a flash, not of lightning nor of the sun, but something far more terrifying, a searing, unbearable tsunami of light. Anyone looking in its direction is instantly rendered blind, even for a few hours. A silent herald of the devastation to come, a silent, blinding light. This is the dawn of a nuclear detonation. In that same instant, a plasma ball ignites, expanding with ferocious speed, hotter than the surface of the sun, reaching temperatures of millions of degrees Celsius. It swells to over 2 kilometers across. A miniature star, born of human hands, unleashed upon the earth. Its heat is an all-consuming force, a ravenous entity within this infernal sphere. Everything simply ceases to exist, leaving behind a gaping wound. The light and heat are but the first assault. Seconds later, the shockwave arrives, a bubble of superheated, supercompressed air expanding explosively outwards. Faster than the speed of sound, it is a physical manifestation of immense energy, a brutal, invisible fist, slamming into everything in its path with unimaginable force. This relentless wave of pressure, stronger than any hurricane or tornado, obliterates structures for kilometers, within a 1-kilometer radius of ground zero. Only the most heavily reinforced steel concrete buildings might partially resist its fury. Further out, up to 17 kilometers or more, houses collapse like they are made of playing cards, trapping tens of thousands within their ruins. As the shockwave tears through the urban landscape, it creates new horrors. Gas lines rupture, fuel stations explode. These secondary blasts add to the chaos, spreading fire and destruction further. The very air becomes a weapon, carrying death and mayhem outwards. The city is dismembered, torn apart piece by piece by this unstoppable force. Above the ruins, a monstrous column ascends, a chilling monument of dust, debris, and ash. While the mushroom cloud dominates the sky, a more insidious threat begins its descent. Invisible, tasteless, odorless, radioactive fallout, the pulverized remains of the Earth, and the bomb itself, now imbued with deadly radiation carried by the prevailing winds. It drifts silently downwards, a lethal shroud. This radioactive dust and ash may fall as a fine powder or be incorporated into condensation, descending as a chilling black rain. It settles upon everything: the ruins of buildings, the shattered streets, the bodies of the dead and dying, contaminating water sources, and the very soil itself, turning a once vibrant landscape into a poisoned wasteland. The danger is pervasive and particularly cruel. The highest doses of this invisible poison are often received through inhalation or by ingesting contaminated food and water. It attacks the body from within, damaging cells, disrupting life's most fundamental processes, a silent, malicious horror that lingers long after the blast. For those who survived the initial inferno, a new battle for life begins, against an enemy they cannot see. Section 5. The Shattered World, Societal Collapse and Despair. The immediate aftermath is a scene of utter chaos, a humanitarian crisis of unprecedented scale. Millions of people, if not vaporized, suffer horrific injuries. Severe burns from the thermal pulse, deep lacerations from flying debris, broken bones from collapsing structures. Many are crushed, trapped, others are blinded, disoriented. Their world transformed into a nightmare. The very fabric of society unravels. Hospitals, if not destroyed outright, are quickly overwhelmed. Most medical professionals would be among the dead or injured. There are no emergency services, no organized rescue efforts possible. The infrastructure that supports life simply ceases to function. Roads are blocked by rubble, train tracks warped by heat, runways cluttered with debris. There is no electricity, no running water, no communication with the outside world. Food stores are destroyed or contaminated, law and order evaporate, replaced by a desperate struggle for survival. Those who were fortunate enough to find shelter, perhaps in metro tunnels, emerge to a world they no longer recognize, unburned, but facing radioactive fallout, trauma, and the urgent need for sustenance. Section 6. The lingering shadow, long-term suffering and health. For those who endure the initial blast and the immediate chaos, the suffering is far from over. A long, painful shadow stretches before them. The effects of radiation exposure begin to manifest weeks, months, and even years later. This is the insidious legacy of the poisoned atoms unleashed upon their unsuspecting bodies. Acute radiation sickness will claim many, a horrifying illness that attacks the body's systems, leading to a slow, agonizing decline. For others, the damage is more subtle, yet equally deadly in the long term. Increased risks of various cancers, leukemia, thyroid cancer, and many others, haunting the survivors and their descendants for generations to come. Psychological trauma, deep and enduring. The medical burden would be staggering, overwhelming any conceivable response. Neighboring areas, themselves perhaps struggling with fallout and displaced populations, would see their hospitals inundated. Hundreds of thousands of patients with complex severe injuries and radiation-induced illnesses requiring specialized long-term care that simply does not exist on such a massive scale. Section 7. The human paradox, deterrence or disarmament. One must ask, how did humanity arrive here? At this terrifying precipice where our own creations threaten our very existence. The journey to this point is complex, rooted in fear, ambition and science. The discovery of nuclear fission unlocked a power previously confined to stars. And with it, a terrible dilemma, a paradox of security. Some governments argue fervently that these weapons of mass destruction are essential to keeping their nations safe. This is the doctrine of deterrence, the idea that the threat of mutual annihilation prevents any one nuclear power from attacking another. A precarious peace maintained by the promise of unimaginable horror, a balance of terror that has held uneasily for decades. They contend that threatening such devastation is a grim necessity in a dangerous world, that possessing these weapons deters aggression and maintains global stability. However, this logic rests upon a fragile foundation of rationality and perfect control. It assumes that systems will never fail, that leaders will always act with caution, that accidents or miscalculations will never occur. But history teaches us otherwise. The line between deterrence and disaster is perilously thin. Section 8. A choice for survival. The path to a nuclear-free dawn. Yet amidst this grim reality there is another path, a choice that leads away from the abyss, towards a future where such horrors are relegated to the darkest chapters of history. This is the path of disarmament, the complete elimination of all nuclear weapons from every arsenal, from every nation, a bold but necessary aspiration for the survival of our species. In 2017, a significant step was taken. Almost two-thirds of the world's countries, supported by dedicated civil society organizations and the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, agreed to a landmark treaty to prohibit and ultimately eliminate these weapons. The Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, a beacon of hope, a testament to humanity's desire for peace. This movement gains strength daily. Ordinary citizens, scientists, diplomats and activists raising their voices, demanding that their leaders renounce these tools of terror. They understand the true cost, the unacceptable risk, the moral imperative to act before it is too late. We, too, must join this chorus for our collective security, for the health of our planet. The choice before us is stark. Let us choose survival.